Hello and welcome back to the channel with another spooky update this October, and this time we're going to take a look at Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's a 2010 horror comedy spoof, much like the Scream series satirized the horror genre. This too satirizes that kind of more deliverance end of things, I guess. The film's director, Eli Craig, is himself a keen outdoorsman, which is why we've got this woodland setting, kind of deep south vibe going on. But the general pitch of the film is that the kind of traditionally evil, maniacal hillbilly characters are, in fact, in this version, a pair of really sweet, friendly guys. And it is through a series of misunderstandings with the kind of group of college kids that, deaths start to occur before steadily we kind of find out that one of the college kids has a dark past, traditional manner of horror films. You can get the sense here just from the trailer of the nature of the film. It's very much a dark, black as night sort of comedy with farcical elements. It was filmed around Calgary in about sort of October of 2009 and premiered at Sundance Film Festival in 2010 to some really positive reviews, which saw it sort of picked up in a bidding war for distribution. Alan Tudyk, however you say that, is probably the most recognisable face in the cast, known for things like Firefly on TV, Dodgeball, A Knight's Tale, and loads of other films. He's a great sort of character actor who pops up all over the place. Katrina Bowden's possibly the other sort of face that you might recognise. She plays the part of Alison, who's the girl who sort of gets rescued by Tucker and Dale and starts to form a bond with them. She's mostly known for 30 Rock, and I believe these days is in The Bold and the Beautiful. But Tyler Labine as Dale is the other hillbilly, and he's really good in this because it's his relationship with Alison that really builds the film together. So we start off with the college kids, off on their road trip. We have that classical sort of moment where they pull up to the remote gas station slash store and get creeped out by the locals, and this is Tucker. As I was saying, he is just a really lovely, friendly guy, and he's having a completely innocuous conversation with the shopkeep here as the two college kids. Here's Katrina Bowden as Alison, and we have Jesse Moss there as Chad. Jesse Moss has just done loads and loads of voiceover work all over the place, so you'll probably recognise his voice. As mentioned, this is Tyler Labine as Dale, who is just a sweet big goofball who lacks confidence, and here he's trying to work up the courage to go and talk to the college girls, with Alison having caught his eye. Lots of lovely little visual gags, the kind of Reaper look there as Dale fails to kind of really talk to the college kids, and just they get creeped out by him. Talking of creepy, we do have the sheriff, who is a bit creepy even with Tucker and Dale, and he is a bit of foreshadowing of the kind of dark secrets that do actually eventually sort of come to the surface. And this is the cabin which Tucker has bought as a holiday home, and he tends to kind of fix it up and make a really nice job of it. But this again is linked into the dark secrets of the neighbourhood. We get some visual storytelling here with the notes and newspaper clippings in the background as we go through and sort of demonstrate that the house is unsafe in various ways, which of course comes into play later. the trope of college kids sitting around the campfire telling scary stories, as we get a bit of a flashback to some events in this area of the world previously, before they all sort of start smoking and drinking and go, hey, let's go swimming in the nearby lake at night, as you do. Meanwhile, Tucker and Dale have gone out fishing, night fishing, and sort of get stuck in this thing where they're kind of looking at the girls but trying not to be seen. But whilst they are doing that, they do see Alison eventually kind of slip and fall, hitting her head into the water, and they go to rescue her. And this is where the kind of the main miscommunications trigger off, because the college kids assume that they're kidnapping her rather than trying to rescue her, as they're trying to flag them down. In the morning, she of course wakes with a start and is introduced to Dale, and he immediately sort of disarms her when he panics that he's made her the wrong thing for breakfast. Meanwhile, the college kids are already convinced others are kind of a pair of crazed killers, and keep your eye on Chad in particular as the film develops, and we get kind of this first real high part of dark farce as Tucker soars into a beehive, comes running out as he's stung by bees, panicking, thrashing his chainsaw around. So of course panic sets in and the college kids think it's coming after him. Splat, horrible accident. There is some gore in the film, but it is played for comedy, so it's not really that bad if you're a bit icky about that kind of thing. But yeah, and start building up this really kind of sweet relationship between Alison and Dale, which is so key to how well the film functions. And as mentioned, Chad is kind of escalating quite quickly towards, we've got to attack these guys, save Alison, whilst the others, are a bit more reluctant, and we get some knockabout farcical action as the college kids manage to basically kill themselves at quite a high rate. Dale and Tucker rightfully, get freaked out by all of this, and they actually think that Alison's friends are part of a suicide cult, and that's why they're kind of killing themselves. The college kids do eventually kind of agree they should try and contact the police. Luckily, one of them earlier did manage to raise the slightly creepy sheriff, so they sort of tell their version of events to the sheriff, and he's concerned because he has actually, we find out later, sort of seen this before, and he quite understandably doesn't really buy Tucker and Dale's sort of version of events, that as far as they can see, these have all just been really weird accidents. And then, of course, the sheriff himself is taken out. Then, through some convoluted series of events that I won't spoil totally here, Tucker gets captured by Chad and his friends, and it's kind of really amping up the fact that Chad is unhinged. Chad is the slowly becoming the more obvious evil here. Dale sets out to rescue Tucker, which he does manage to do after a couple of close misses, as Chad and co go to try and rescue Alison, and then they start to think that she has got Stockholm syndrome, because she's telling them that Dale and Tucker are actually really nice. She is actually taking a degree in sort of counselling and psychology, so she gets everybody to sit round the table and talk about their feelings and trying to understand each other, whilst a few of the other college kids wait outside wondering what's going on. They burst in, and then we have another series of it is all going horribly, horribly wrong. People start throwing lanterns around, and then there is the mistaken use of moonshine, And poor Tucker, his holiday home basically explodes. And then we get into kind of a sequence where things have almost completely turned round, where Chad has become the scarred, burnt horror figure, the stalking, horrible killer who's kidnapping people. He kidnaps Alison and takes her to this sawmill, and as you can see, we've got some fairly gruesome makeup going on there. And Dale rides in to do the rescuing. And it's actually quite a cool kind of climactic sequence for the film around this old sawmill. We get the final revelations of why Chad is the way he is. I'm not going to give that away right now. Before we have a nice payoff moment that brings in Dale's kind of good memory that we've seen demonstrated, and a kind of an offhand comment that Chad has made. If you want something for Halloween that's kind of got those horror tropes and elements to it, but isn't an outright horror film, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is great. It's got some great laughs in it. The characters actually are really charming. I'd really recommend it.